Hello, welcome to Arcade Couch, the best place to chill with your friends, get your game goodness each and every Monday. My name's John Blight. Join me on the couch this week. I've got to say more than one or two people's names. It's crazy. Ashley Hobley.
Hey, Dylan. Excited to be here, but it's getting a little bit crowded.
A little bit crowded. Also, you Karen Marchett.
Why didn't we get the backup couch out of the fucking garage? Like, why are we? Why is Buddy sat on Ashley's lap right now?
I'm not complaining. I'm just saying.
Also, here, Buddy Watson.
I know it's a 4-seater couch, but I'm just more comfortable this way.
Take that as a compliment, Karen. I don't know. Or not. I don't know.
It's, sure.
He said your knees feel like soft cushions.
Or he was insulting the couch and saying that, you know.
Wait,
Yeah,
I finally
Kieran's
get it. That's what I
knees are
mean
more
when they
comfortable.
say more cushion for the pushing.
Yeah. There you go.
I get it
It's a
now.
compliment this whole time. Yeah.
Brisbane people stick together.
It's true.
This week on the show, we're going to be talking about Redfall. It's a video game. Good reaction. And also Zelda is a video game that's leaked everywhere and everyone's played already.
Yeah, Zelda week. Let's go. Game of the century.
Well, he's already called it. It's gone beyond hashtag game of the year to already hashtag
I don't think Game of the
century.
Century could have weapon degradation in it. Let's be honest.
Fucking hell. Anyway, they can. Buddy and Kieran can argue about that later in the show. Firstly, let's talk about Redfall. Ash, hit me with the what's the quality critics on the Redfalls?
Quality critic score is 6 out of 10. Generally, most of the critics said that Redfall didn't live up to Arcane's reputation. Very sparse open world filled with repetitive missions and combat experiences left many to find the game just fine, while the efforts to make the game a live service experience appear to have been to the detriment of the story Arcane Studios Austin were looking to tell. Yeah. I think the lowest score was James Woods over at Well Played. Gave it a 4 out of 5 and said, a disjointed experiment in melding the house style with modern open-world tendencies and multiplayer leaves Redfall in an uncomfortable flux, lacking the raw mechanical satisfaction of its contemporaries and somewhat abandoning what makes Arcane games so special in the first place. Redfall is more of a beige stumble.
Did you say 4 out of 5?
4.5 out of 10.
Oh, 0.45. I was like, what? 4 out of 5? That's good.
No.
No.
So we've all played it, but Kieran's supposed to be writing our review.
You know, I've sat for 2
Sucks
hours
to be
today.
him.
I've sat for 2 hours today looking at a blank page, trying to write. And this might be the hardest review I've ever written, really. Because
I don't know. I find that when games are bad, it's usually pretty easy than ones that are mediocre.
Nah,
They're the
because
hardest ones.
when I like a game, I'm excited to write it. You know, I'm excited to get it out there. With, you know what? It's not even that. It's not even like I hate this game or that I have a severe disdain for this game. I'm just super lukewarm on it. And like, not even lukewarm, like it's a bad game. It's really bad currently.
You just went from, I don't even hate it. It's lukewarm. I just okay. That's bad. It's very bad.
It's I'm not
Denial. Grief.
Yeah. Literally.
like
Acceptance.
honestly, no, it's I'm gonna give it a 4 out of 10 in my review.
Yeah.
But I'm not passionate enough to yell into the void about it. It feels like I'm just kicking a dead dog at this point. It is clearly a bad game. To the point where I had friends install it to play it with me at some point in the last week.
We did
Literally, no other people other than you.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
Oh,
All
yeah,
right,
yeah,
fuck
no,
you.
no,
Oh,
no,
whatever.
no,
Okay.
no. Other people other than you. I literally messaged them this morning and said, "Hey, just uninstall it from your PCs. Like, let's not even bother. Like, let's just give yourself that 100 gig back." It's so disappointing that a studio like Arcane has just fallen into this cookie cutter, like horrible open world RPG. And it's not even a good open world. It feels dead, not even in the good way where it's vampires. Like, it just feels lifeless and it's not fun to traverse around the area. It's a game where you almost want to just fast travel everywhere because it would just make life easier.
Yeah, I do.
It's like it's when we play it, like it was fun playing. Not even fun playing it with the four of us because I was.
You can play the entire time.
I played the entire time. I was so fucking just. It wasn't even like, just time dragged while we were playing it, and I was just so.
You dragged because I'm pretty sure both your character models glitched out where it looked like you were dragging your butts across
both character models.
Footpath.
There's the video that you put up on Twitter of me getting stuck against a post randomly, and it taking like it just. It's just disappointing, and you know the silver lining is there was the interview Phil Spencer did this week where he came out and he owned up to it and he took on the blame and everything, and he did it well without PR bullshit, but at the same time. I'm really fucking sick and tired of him having to do that. I'm sick and tired of him having to put his hand up and say, "Yeah, we fucked up," and it's really disappointing because Arcane with Prey, with Dishonored, they do so much interesting and innovative gameplay and level design. And Deathloop, yes, but I guess I have more of a connection with Prey and Dishonored.
Well, to be fair, this studio didn't work on Deathloop, so. Different team.
It just, and I understand that we don't want to quell developers from trying something new, and this was Arcane trying something new and different from what they've normally tried, but just it wasn't it. It just felt it lacked any of that ingenuity. It just lacked anything of real substance from the game. The guns felt off. I hated reloading because every gun felt like it reloaded so fucking slowly. I just, it was the fact that when Dylan had played the most out of the three of us, yet when we were doing missions, Dylan at some points just didn't have a fucking clue what we were supposed to be doing. No,
I know what you do. You run through the level.
No, but the thing was, we were running through those levels, but then it was like, wait, this isn't even the objective. The objective is these yellow buildings over here we've got to go to. And there's no good way of tracking that in the game, or there's no other than the markers. But if everybody playing in multiplayer puts a marker down, they're all the same fucking color and you don't know which one's which.
Yeah, and then it sucks when you have someone like Ash, who I tell several times, remove the fucking marker off the map and he doesn't know how to do it.
He doesn't know how to do it, and then
it was glitched.
I just there's nothing that they say and not to talk too much about in professional wrestling, they say the worst thing a wrestler could get is silence, is to go out there and people to give you go away heat that nobody gives a fuck. And that is how I feel about Redfall. I don't even feel the energy to boo and say, hey, it's terrible, and to call out to everybody that it's so bad. I just want it to go away.
So my thoughts on this game is it's terrible, and but I think we should, it's let's stop talking about it being terrible. The problem to me is how did it end up this bad? Because people, in that Phil Spencer interview, he's talking about oh yeah, hopefully we'll be able to fix it and stuff. This game's not fixable without a major overhaul, to the point that you're No Man's Skying 2.0ing it, where you're basically redoing the entire game. The core, yes, this game is buggy. Yes, this game has issues that you could fix. But even if you fixed up all of the bugs in the game, it's still a bad game. It's still a very boring, bland, absolutely, I don't know what the direction or idea behind this game was at all. And I feel like that's the part where I'm so confused. I have no idea. I don't know who the director was on this game. I'm sorry, but I have no idea what they were doing. And I don't know what Phil Spencer and the other Xbox heads who check in on these projects at their studios, and that's part of their job, throughout the past 6 months to a year after they purchased Bethesda, and every time they checked in and played this game, why none of them said, what is this game? This just seems so you're trying to combine Back 4 Blood or a Left 4 Dead experience with this co-op thing, with this open world experience, but it's not fun to play solo or even in co-op. You can't even combine your powers in cool ways. I'm very confused about, this is a management issue to me. This is a creative out of the gate. This game was never headed in the right direction unless it halfway through production got steered there. This isn't a 6 months down the track, a couple expansions later, it's fixed. This is it's just bad. I don't. This everyone keeps talking about how they'll be able to fix it. They'll patch the bugs. I don't give a fuck about the bugs. If it was the bugs, that's like even if you fix the bugs, this game for me would go from like a 3 or 4 to a 5 at most.
No.
Like
we just came off Jedi Survivor, which was riddled with bugs, even worse, and yet that's getting 9s and 10s. So the bugs aren't the issue.
No, the issues is the core concept of the game, which the story is boring, the gameplay is boring, the world's slightly interesting with the setup. I guess
there's not enough there.
I'll give it that. But yeah, the world's boring.
You don't want to know why the world and the story is boring? Is because we were getting to this point where we were fighting this character called the Hollow Man, and Dylan's like, "This is the fucking end of the game." this is the end of the fucking game already. Like we're going to fight the Hollow Man. That's all they've talked about for the opening part of this game, and the only parts that I've realized. And I was like, Dylan, no, I just think this is like the first kind of major boss in the game, and it's going to go to other major bosses. And then it was the realization that this opening area is only like a temporary point for us to play in, and then it has a no returning point. That you're going to go to a different map at some point. Like, that's like, and the fact that Dylan, who had put like 8 hours already into this game, didn't understand that and didn't know that is fucking ridiculous.
It's so funny though, because the amount of people statistically, I would love, how they do those stats of like, based off achievements and trophies where they can tell how many people didn't get up to a certain boss, or, they'll be like, 80% of people didn't even get past the tutorial section, the first area of Bloodborne, and, like all these sorts of things. How many people do not get out of that first area of Redfall, and beat that boss and go to that second main map area? Fucking
the majority,
majority,
90%, because they play the first 20 minutes of the game.
Because every clip you see on Twitter is from that opening map.
Area,
I haven't seen anything from the second map.
Nope.
So...
Before we started recording tonight, I saw on Twitter an Australian streamer that I watch tweeted out that they were doing a hashtag ad for Redfall. I was like, you poor person. Like, I get it. You're getting that.
That'd be like the roughest thing. It's like,
got to get that bag. But if you have to spend 2 hours playing this game, oh boy, I hope
you're getting your money's worth.
You're playing people that you can have fun with, and you have a good community, because the game itself is not good content.
How have you seen the reaction to Redfall, buddy? I know obviously you were straight away like, you would have been like, yeah, I saw that coming or something. I don't think I ever
absolutely 100% saw it coming because it's hashtag not a buddy game. And when it was revealed at E3 2021, I think it was. Yeah. I think I saw it in a lot of people's like most anticipated lists. I just went back and checked my Twitter to see what my reaction was.
I specifically remember saying that was the one title I was jealous was it on PlayStation.
Yeah. Oh, really?
Because it looked cool. It looked like it had characters
go?
And charm and stuff.
Where did all that go?
In the trailer.
Like, there's just none of it. Not even like the 4 characters you play as are interesting. Like, God, you have Edgy McGee, you have the tech guy, you have the other tech girl, and you have Elevator Lady. Like, that is the fucking limit of who they are as characters. And
it sucks because vampires are my favorite mythical monster creature across kind of
cryptid or whatever
literature or movies and everything like that. So instantly that's like an in for me, but just seeing kind of what that game was and knowing it was like from Bethesda as well. I just like searched back and saw that like I did 7 favorite highlights from that show and it didn't even make any of those compared to that. So I think the last Bethesda game I played before this, and I don't play a lot of them either, but one of the ones I did play was that Wolfenstein Youngblood. Mm-hmm. And I know it's like a different...
Well, we played that.
Yeah, we played that together. And then I know it's a different developer and everything, and it's probably me going in with like bad faith because I haven't played really anything out like Dishonored, Prey, all the other Wolfensteins and stuff. But me playing that, I was like, oh, this is just not what I like in games. And if you take Deathloop out of it, kind of what Prey was the last thing that Arcane Austin did in 2017 that got well received. Yep. Then you have Arcane Lion who are doing Wolfenstein Youngblood, and then they get kind of a pretty poor reaction.
Oh no, yeah, the DLC.
Yeah.
Sorry, yeah.
Yeah, well, they did Youngblood as like a co-development, and then to kind of have that reception of that game and see a lot of those problems come through to now into this game. It's like, well, they were working on this for 6 years, Redfall, or that studio, unless they were kind of helping out elsewhere, and then they kind of saw the writing on the wall in 2000 and whatever it was when I think 19 young bot comes out, 19 or 20. So it's kind of weird to they see that and they're like, well, we'll still keep trying to go down that route. And then the more gameplay I saw of that game come out, it's like, well, this doesn't look fun. It looks like they said, let's make this type of game, and then we'll make Vampire lore around it. So it's kind of like build the game instead of having like a creative vision of like, all right, let's have this as a story, or let's have this as a gameplay mechanic, or let's have this as a thing. They said, let's make this gameplay, the game's a service, whatever it is. I can't even describe the game of what it is, this co-op experience or whatever. But then, it just doesn't hit anything. So I feel like there was kind of like what you're saying before, Dylan, there's like no direction or no vision. And it sucks because Microsoft are really losing that mind share now, or that kind of, it's hurting their reputation of like the last 2 or 3 years where they've kind of been the good guys and Phil Spencer and let's play everything everywhere and Game Pass and having that as like the best deal for gamers and all that kind of stuff. So I feel like they're starting to, that's starting to erode on it, and people kind of having less faith in them now.
It's all a ruse. Like, Phil Spencer knew what they had. They put it out, so then they can go back to the appeals board and say, look, we're doing so terribly. We need Activision Blizzard.
No.
They're purposely tanking so they can get the deal through.
No. I feel like what was worse is that Hi-Fi Rush was so good and so well received. And so I think that just got everybody optimistic for what it meant for Xbox this year and for Game Pass in general. And then to immediately get this is, okay, this is the next AAA title from actual Xbox. This is what they've been building towards for ages now. And
then, for a $70 game.
Yeah. And then
for $70,
it's a complete, not a gut punch, and it isn't good, and it's a broken mess. And I think it just takes away all of the positivity and the potential that you see in Xbox from them. And I as people have said already, like for I was going to say Starfield later in the year, everybody's already waiting for that game to fucking suck and to be a buggy Bethesda mess and just to not play well.
Because it will be a buggy mess.
Yep. And it's getting to the point with Xbox that you're like, fuck, is this another console that you guys are just...
Well, they've already conceded, right? That was what was in the podcast.
They're not even thinking about the console. That's the thing. It's not like, is this another console that's going to underwhelm or not reach its potential and not get X amount? So they don't care about the console. They've like made that so clear. And Hi-Fi Rush coming out, when that came out and they released like MPD data, it wasn't even like in the top 20 things. And then you're looking at, I know it's on Game Pass, right? But then you're also looking at, like I said, once again, achievements of how many people like actually finished that game. It's like super low. It's like they've got this video store mentality right now, which is why I think they had that opportunity cost with Redfall. They just like knew what they had. They probably had internal reviews. They're saying internal reviews were higher than what they thought. I don't believe that. I reckon they kind of just like knew what they were doing, and that's just all kind of PR speaking. Like, listen, we just can't keep pumping resources into this game. Let's just get it out. Let's kind of see how it goes, and let's move on and start afresh with something else and like learn our lesson from that. But my big takeaway is that kind of video store mentality and the whole Game Pass is kind of, well, they're damned if you do, damned if you don't, right? Like Hi-Fi Rush, were they involved with that or were they not? Redfall, were they involved with that? Were they not? Like, if it tanks, it's going to go Xbox brought Bethesda. They made Redfall suck. It's like Hi-Fi Rush did well. Critically at least, right? That was in development before Xbox.
That's
so
cool.
Phil Spencer was kind of right in that regard, though.
I mean, yeah, it also comes down to, it doesn't matter if it's good or not, really. It's just content for a lot of Game Pass users, in the same way that if there's a shitty Netflix movie that comes out, nobody cares about it the next week. They move on to them. When the next shitty movie, Netflix thing comes out, they just move on because there's something new coming out the next week. That's what Xbox wants to do.
Yeah, imagine
rest of valuing games as they go.
Yeah, I mean, as much as like I know you're like Ash's whole is anti Game Pass thing, and like I like Game Pass as as an idea, but there is that you can definitely not argue against the point that if Game Pass wasn't a thing and the majority of people playing this game haven't paid full price for it, the majority, I'm sure, like obviously some have. But
You both work in
people,
retailers. Did you sell a single copy of Redfall?
No.
But
Obviously,
how often do you sell Xbox games now? Like,
Fuck all.
because it's, I think
Even the ones that are not on Game Pass.
yeah, and that's the thing, right? Is that I have both consoles, and like when
you
I'm
have a
looking at
digital
buying,
console.
I have a digital console, but no, it's not even. That's not the point I was going to in terms of the physical store stuff. I'm looking at. I want to grab Jedi Survivor in the coming week. I'll be grabbing that on PlayStation. Like there isn't, unless it's on Game Pass, I am not grabbing anything on my Xbox.
Yeah.
Like I'm just not. Like it's not.
Like, is it? If your quality control at your company is going down because of Game Pass, I don't think that's a good thing.
But the thing is, I don't think this is a case of quality control being bad. I think they just knew it was bad. As Buddy was saying, they knew it was bad. The quality control was like, hey, this is bad. But at the point, Microsoft's like, we just need to get this out.
There was two options: put it out or cancel it. And
yes and no. It's the same as saying, it's like saying a director only realizes his movie's bad once it's the final cut's put in front of him. It's fully done, edited. He's sitting back watching it and going, man, this movie we just made is terrible. So I'd say that, yeah, okay, Phil Spencer and whoever else has presented this game at the end and they go, man, Redfall isn't great. Let's just put it out. But I think someone who's good at that job and is able to view games in the creative process, the whole point is that you're able to stop it 6 months, even a year into that process and either steer that direction into being a good game or just fucking cancel it and lose that money at that point rather than this.
Yeah, it's project management. And you look at things like Suicide Squad getting delayed out of this year. They must be like fucking fist pump in the air right now with like, oh, thank God we didn't launch or thank God we listened. But I mean, I would argue that their change of mind and their delays are already too late and they're just pumping extra resources. Redfall could have done the same thing and they could be in the same result as they are right now, but they just save the money, right?
Yeah. In all honest opinions, even if Redfall had delayed itself, it wouldn't have been much better. Maybe it wouldn't be as buggy.
Fixed. It needed to fix in 2022 at the start.
Because it's the core. It's the core.
It's
kind
the
of
actual
ethos
game
of
that's
the game.
there. It's like even if you have the game with no bugs, it is still a bland, bad 5 out of 10 game. Like,
I haven't played it, right?
I
but
think it makes a bit of a difference if it's not buggy.
I haven't played it, but take vampires out of it. Is as interesting?
No. It's not even interesting with the vampires in it because they're so fucking boring to fight. Ugh, bang, bang. Ugh. Like you try. It's so fucking boring. Anyway, let's move forward. Yeah, we are kicking a dead horse a bit, but it obviously was a big topic of the week. So
I mean, it really raises the question: like, what do you think every other live service game is thinking in there that's currently in development, looking at this game?
Have co-op progression.
Yes. Is the fact that me and Kieran were shooting enemies for ages and just lots of zeros were coming up on the screen? Yeah. Crazy.
Because we were underleveled. Yeah, Redfall isn't a live for service game though, right? Like it's not.
It is now. As they attempt to fix it.
For any multiplayer co-op game, I guess.
Yeah, it was just.
Also, just pick a lane. Either commit to co-op or commit to single player.
Because it's not scary to play by yourself, and it's not. There's
I don't think
there's not enough there's not enough enemies to make it fun when you play with other people. So yeah, I don't know. All right, let's go on to some of the other major topic, other major thing that happened this week, which was the Zeldas of the leaks of the Tears of the Kingdom of the Kotaku, everyone get pissy.
It was tearing the internet apart.
You're tearing me apart. So for anyone who missed out, I guess the story goes this way. Zelda leaked online somehow. It's been online for like a week now. If you search the dark web, you can find a file that you download that you put to your toaster and that plays the game on your smart TV or some shit. I don't know how it works. Then news reports start circulating, people reporting it and stuff like that. I saw this story mostly blow up because Kotaku decided to write about it, and then everyone was getting pissy in their responses because instead of just covering it as in a news story in the way of, hey, Zelda's leaked, blah, 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 details include hint at things, full stop, end paragraph. Thank you. Check out. Let me know what you think in the comments below. They did a full paragraph by paragraph breakdown of everything they've seen come out of the game so far.
To be fair, it wasn't spoilery in any way. Very much general things that have not been.
I've looked at it because I don't care, but
yeah, same.
It is spoilery. It spoils it. Literally tells you how the game starts. It tells you.
Oh my god, how a game starts! A spoiler now. What world are we living in?
Yeah, it is a spoiler. They tell you about these whole. They tell you a bunch of stuff that hasn't actually been revealed about the game yet. Massive gameplay things.
Said the music's really good. Is that a spoiler?
Hold on for a second. Yes, no. Hold on for a second. Are you saying if somebody told you the start of The Last of Us Part 2 before it comes out, that wasn't a spoiler?
Depends on what up to.
Don't even. No. If you say the start of The Last of Us Part 2, it encapsulates a very specific run in the game.
I'd say Last of Us Part 1 even.
Yeah, that's also fair. Yeah, 100%. Are you saying neither of those things are classed as spoilers?
That's fair.
So that all happened. So there's two sides I want to tackle this. From anyone, how they feel about, and I don't even know how these things happen and why they continue to happen, and just generally how we feel about people who sort of take it upon themselves to even download and play these things, let alone then spread information. And then let's get because this is the reason Buddy was sort of invited on, because he was talking about it in a messenger chat, and I was like, just come on the podcast and talk about it. How we feel about the general, what are your journalistic rules when it comes to reporting on video game leaks and stuff? But let's do that one after the fact. Buddy, how do you feel about just the general leakage and stuff like that? Is it super disappointing as someone who's obviously very excited about this game?
Of course it is. It sucks. It sucks for the developers. It sucks for the fans. I know when The Last of Us Part 2 kind of got leaked 2 or 3 weeks beforehand, it was kind of avoiding social media and trying to avoid keywords. And it just sucks if you kind of it's like collateral damage, right? You just it comes up out of nowhere. It's different to when a TV show has its premiere or finale, right? You know when that time is on. You're like, all right, I'm going to avoid social media. I'm going to mute these words. I'm going to do that. You're taking risks, especially with sporting events as well. They're live. A lot of people are going to just tweet about those or whatever they do on Facebook, I guess, post about post or do all their stories and TikTok. All that stuff's live. So it's kind of open game when it comes to that stuff. And I know it shouldn't be open game for TV and movies and stuff, but at least it's out. And there's an opportunity to go see that, and you can actively avoid using said things or exposing yourself to places where you could get spoiled to. But when it's stuff that's leaked 3 or 4 weeks out, or like this earlier, it's kind of it's just sucks for everyone, because especially if it's a story-driven game like The Last of Us, when it's like X event happens, it's like, well, what's the context of that? What's the context of this thing? How does that actually fit into the story? You're missing a beat that is going to come all together as one gigantic kind of package that's going to have less emotional resonance for something later on. Or I guess it's probably less likely to be something in Zelda's thing, because some people just don't really care about the story, and it's more about the journey or the gameplay mechanics or solving puzzles and stuff like that. But I feel like a lot of Zelda's cool thing is like the water cooler chat, right? Like, oh my God, I discovered how to use this, or you can put this together, or this works, or that works, or I'm stuck in this temple or dungeon or this boss, or how do I kill this thing? And it's kind of like almost a part of the zeitgeist of the community where you're chatting and kind of having those moments together, almost like watching TV shows weekly and having those conversations. So in that regard, I feel like don't want any of that kind of spoiled, some of the abilities that weren't revealed in the previews and everything. So it's just disappointing for everyone. And I hate that there's people out there that don't care about this and actively seeking leaks and kind of trying to spoil it for people. But that's just kind of like the world we live in anyway, where people are fuckheads.
Solid. Ash?
Yeah, I mean, it is just weird that, it happens. I don't know, especially on Nintendo, which is the most offline secure thing. You would think that their titles would be reasonably safe. I mean,
they have a Bowser. I mean,
Yeah, they've got a Bowser where, I guess it's, he does not, his castles are constantly
He's not-
being
yeah, his
infiltrated,
castles
so
are
I guess-
fucking-
He just wants
Yeah.
peaches, man. He doesn't give a fuck about anything else.
Yeah. Wait till Zelda's a big franchise, then they'll put some actual security around it, I guess. Yeah.
Because
I don't know.
Pokemon Violet and Scarlet, mate, yeah, they didn't leak. Whatever those ones, Sword or Shield, Come
Yeah, I don't
on.
know.
Don't poke me.
I don't know. Yeah, it's just disappointing. I mean, yeah. And then shout out to the brave souls streaming it. That is like the dumbest shit you could be doing. Because Nintendo is going to come after you, like, literally. I think Reggie made a elimination joke earlier this week, but yeah, Nintendo will come after you with all their force. So
Even now, I'm being saying I want to stream it on launch day, and I'm like talking to Bryce about it, and he's like, I'm not so sure you should do that even for the time zone, like on the release day of Friday. And then they're having the treehouse, which is Saturday our time. It's like, is something going to happen if we stream it early? But there's no etiquette whether you can, you can't. Like, there's no clear directive.
Well, it
No,
depends.
you 100% can.
If you ask
Yeah.
somebody in Japan, they'd be like, no, you can't. But probably everywhere else in the world. Look, the thing is, everybody else is going to be streaming it when it's released in their time zone. There will be other Australians streaming
At midnight.
at midnight
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
what? Fuck, let's actually get an advantage for once in our fucking lives as Australians. Let's hit the streaming community quickly and early so people who are still waiting for it can tune in and start watching. Like, from a streaming community, honestly, if you're wanting to build your stream and you're wanting to grow and give yourself a good opportunity to grow within
that
the
first
Zelda
mentality
space,
is important.
is you should be doing it. Like, if you want to grow as a channel and get a chance to show your channel to people, streaming Zelda first is a fucking very good opportunity to do that for yourself. So I think I wouldn't be too worried about the rest from Nintendo, just because if somehow you were the only person doing it, sure, but you won't be. So that's, it's fine.
Check the numbers, eh? Risk it for the biscuit.
Yeah.
Let's go for the biscuit.
100%.
Yeah, I continue to find these things very weird that stuff leaks. I sort of get really sick of it. It's that whole it's not like a trailer leaking and that sort of I do fight back a little bit more on the but you've ruined it for the team of getting to see the trailer. I'm like, yeah, but it's just marketing. Like, I understand that like it's disappointing, but I do definitely feel like a trailer leaking early and someone like releasing, like at the moment there's that Five Nights at Freddy's or whatever movie trailer leaking around the internet. I see those news stories and go, cool, I'm not going to watch that, but at least I know that it's coming soon. Cool. But when a whole fucking game releases, it's the whole game, and people are not only sharing it weeks early, but they're also, let alone the fact that you're pirating and not paying for an entire thing. Like, that's the whole other side. It's not even like you're showing clips of it. Like, you're
literally stealing it on top of
You're
it.
literally stealing something, let alone sharing something that you've stolen. So
You wouldn't steal a car.
you wouldn't steal a car. You wouldn't shit in a policeman's hat and give it back to him.
It's very specific.
You know what I'm saying? I think it's from the IT crowd. It's like a very funny skit that they do in that show. Yeah. But fuck Graham Lynham or whatever his name is, transphobe. Fuck. Turf. All right, let's get into the other thing. So the Kotaku side, that's blown up the internet. At least my Twitter, that side has blown up more people talking and tweeting about that. The Kotaku writing about it than people tweeting about the fact that Zelda is leaked. I know that's obviously my zeitgeist of people I follow on Twitter and so on, but that's mostly been my Twitter thing. So yeah, the breakdown is they post a story. A lot of it comes from, there is obviously a huge group of like sort of anti-Kotaku people out there who have jumped on this to go into the comment sections, and every comment is basically the same as, the other day you was complaining that you don't get Nintendo games, now you're posting this. Insert a million different versions of the same comment in their Twitter comments, in the comments to the article, on their Facebook, I'm sure, everything like that. That's how that's sort of been going. The other side of the argument I've seen is that it's very weird, and I'm sort of in the middle ground to this. I'm a little bit of both sides. I agree with both sides a little bit. I do think it's very weird to write this article, and I'll put out straight away that I personally don't think that covering a leak this way is something I would feel comfortable doing, or I don't feel like is a good way to cover a leak. I feel like the way you should write about it is it's fine to write about, but it's just how you write about. And what you choose to divulge in said article is you either cross a line or you don't cross a line. And I definitely feel like going fully into detail is crossing said line. The other part that I do find it very weird as people put on the internet to be simping for Nintendo so hard to like jump down Kotaku's throat about it. Like, that's very weird, especially when a week ago, a lot of these people were pissed off at Nintendo for suing that kid for like $1 million or whatever it is. So it's like, it's just this internet backlash thing of one week, everyone's like, fuck Nintendo. They're trying to like ruin the life of this one kid. And then next week, because they're like, actually, we hate Kotaku more than Nintendo. So we're back on their side. Fuck you, Kotaku. Nintendo should give you their games anyway. Fuck you. Like, I'm just like, it's very weird sort of back and forth. But buddy, what is your thoughts on the Kotaku article and everything like that?
It sucks. I don't think it's journalism, and there's been two reactions to this, and it's been kind of disappointing to see some mutuals kind of hone in on the replies and the quote retweets of the psychopaths, because you do have, it's two separate things, right? You do have the psychopaths that are in the quote retweets, or the replies that are clearly just stuff Kotaku, F this, blah, blah, you don't deserve the game, all these crazy things that they're just saying, and no sane person agrees with that, okay? But then there's the flip side of that, where people have kind of shared that, or shared things like, you know, Kotaku, we're pushing the brand, like, it is journalism, blah, 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 and using those insane comments as their jumping off point to say, we're allowed to do this, you know, we're blacklisted because, you know, we don't concede, or we're pushing the boundaries, or doing these kind of things, and just kind of seeing the replies that are all people liking certain statuses. So I just think it's irresponsible for them to grab all those spoilers, put them in one article, and then with their reach, right, people that might not even know the game is leaked yet or whatever can see that article. And once again, it comes down to people that want to spoil it for everyone else. All the leaks are there, compiled in one place. Now they can open it. They never even knew those leaks were out there in the first place. But now, because Kotaku is a big, reputable, one of the biggest video game sites in the world, there it is. There we are. Oh, cool. Oh, the Zelda's leaked. All the spoilers are in this article. Click on it. Bang. All right. Now I'm going to go to Reddit. Now I'm going to go to Twitter. Now I'm going to ruin this game for everybody. Okay. So when it comes down to it, it's not about, you know, Kotaku, we're not a part of the marketing machine. We put our hands up and go, yeah, cool. Actually, like, you semi-are, right? But in a non-biased way. So if, you know, they don't send you copies of Redfall because you're not a part of the marketing. But then the flip side of that is, like, outlets are giving Redfall a 4 or 5 or 6 or saying it's shit. That's bad marketing. So it's like, that's when you're not simping or you're a part of the marketing machine. If you get Redfall early and you go, okay, well, damn, this game sucks, but I better give it a 9 or a 10, or I better overlook some of its
7.
Or just seeing Xbox Era, right? They gave it like an 8.5. Yeah. And I'm like, okay, are these guys, they are outlets that have kind of not as much, I don't want to say journalist integrity.
That's who Phil Spencer went for the early reviews. But
there's a bit more bias there, and that's when they're kind of having it weigh on, like, well, we are a part of the market. We need this to, that might just be their opinion. Maybe they did get a better experience than everyone else did, but I feel like those people are more like the marketing thing, whereas other people, like, you can still say what you honestly feel with an unbiased kind of opinion. But yeah, I just think with their reach, and they don't really have responsibility either to do it, but it just came off as super petty, and once again, kind of like look at us, but in a really bad way. And I know that the editor had some pretty poor responses that were kind of deleted and kind of addressed after that, with you know, people going after it and stuff. But yeah, it's just frustrating, and because it's frustrating to see, like, Australian Kotaku who share their name, but then it seems like every single controversy always comes from the US Kotaku, and then they just have to kind of, Australian Kotaku, like, has to retweet it or put it on their site, and it kind of like brandies them with a brush as well. But yeah, I don't know. I just think people are kind of honing in on the wrong part of it. If it was journalism, would you see IGN do it? Would you see GameSpot? Would you see Polygon? Would you see any other independent outlets like make an article, put all the spoilers in there and post it? Would you see maybe like Jason Schreier do it? Would they report on it? And I know that everyone's going to say like, oh, that'll ruin their reputation with Nintendo and then they won't get codes. But if it truly was journalism and anyone could do it without fear of bias or being a part of the marketing machine, would they post that? I don't think so.
Ash?
Yeah, I don't, it again, like you said, I wouldn't have written an article like this. Obviously it came from a point of this person who wrote the article really was in depth, watching a lot of leaks, doing it for his own personal pleasure, and then wrote the article for content. Because really, that's the only reason it's up there. It's for content reasons. It was going to get clicks. People were going to go look at it.
I'm sure that part's worked. I'm sure
that's 100%.
Yeah.
And because there was no fear of ramifications, really, more ramifications.
You're already blacklisted, so
yeah, you can't get double blacklisted. Whether it's I don't know if it's terribly unethical, but it's just pretty shitty, because obviously the information is out there. I know it would be the same as reporting on leaked documents, like for court cases and that kind of stuff, or leaked drafts of speeches or that kind of stuff, or leaked like negotiated agreements or whatever. People like report on that kind of stuff all the time. The real thing is, who was this for, and was it worth doing it for those people? And I guess for Kotaku, it's yes. Kotaku US. But yeah, I think, like Buddy also said, the reaction maybe has been kind of extreme. Like, just if this had been done by any other website, like, nobody would have cared. But because it was Kotaku, it just doubled down on all the hate against Kotaku in general.
Karen, how are you feeling about it?
It's shit. It is, at least as you guys have alluded to, like if Kotaku hadn't done this, at least people who wanted to share and spoil things for others would have had to go and do a bit more investigation, would have had to go and get the game themselves, or would have to do a lot more, I guess, groundwork to kind of get to these spoilers. But you've just kind of presented them on a platter to people. People can easily screenshot the webpage, and like it almost, for those people, it takes the kind of burden of blame off them, because they're, from their point of view, it's just a Kotaku article. This is I'm just sharing a Kotaku article, and it feels weird that the boundaries and the overall idea and feeling towards spoilers and towards leaks by the media community, and specifically Kotaku, is those boundaries seem to be changing every time there's a different leak. At one point leaks were only reported on that they had happened, but nobody would report on. A lot of media places would even be like, "Hey, just be careful. Don't just probably jump off the internet for a bit," or would use it as a warning. Kotaku hasn't used it as a warning. They're doing a piece of, "Hey, there's a leak. Just in case you need to go and find it yourself, I've got it for you here." It's just, I just think it's a bit unethical by Kotaku, and I just think there's a lot better ways to deal with this as a whole.
Well, that's what I said. I tweeted out that day. I said it's a big difference between reporting leaks and spoilers for a game that they're around and to avoid them, versus here are the spoilers and things learned from those leaks. And when it comes, like, some people are actively wanting to, they can't wait, right? They want to know everything right now. And there's always going to be that crowd, and that's cool. Those people will find that anyway. Don't worry about it. Those people are already Googling or going on Reddit.
If there's hundreds of thousands of those people, then that's a lot of eyeballs on your website that it's worth the effort.
That's true, but they're going to find it anyway. It's just the bad faith that I think it's going to find it. And you look at the movie industry. There's scripts right now for movies that are not out. You can go read the script, right? Like with how they deal spoilers or leaks or whatever. Like you I don't know, weird.
I can tell you what nearly happened is that Quentin Tarantino nearly didn't make an entire movie because his script leaked. So That's what happens.
Zelda gets delayed again.
It's cancelled. Listen, it was decided,
cancelled.
cancelled.
Yeah. I think that part that does annoy me the most as we move towards wrapping this up is we keep referring to them as leaks, and I know that's the terminology we use, but when you boil it down, this is someone has illegally obtained, stolen an entire video game file ahead of release, let alone the fact that it's illegally stolen. It's a legally obtained game ahead of release. And the article isn't framed.
We don't know that was illegally obtained.
It was 100% illegally obtained. What the fuck did Doug Bowser give it to him?
We don't know. Someone could have given them.
All right, let me change my mind.
I don't want to throw our industry under the bus.
It was presumably illegally obtained copy.
Someone could have gotten an advance copy for some reason.
Came off a logistics conveyor belt at the factory.
And they decided to share it with their mate for some reason. And he's decided, fuck Nintendo, and just leaked it all online. Just because he was blacklisted at one point.
Yeah, but it's just the way the article's like framed and everything as like, hey, this thing was on internet, I'm sharing. I'm like, yeah, but like, it's not out. Like and it was probably illegally obtained. Like it's just, it's just all of that part becomes very weird to me. You see, like if you think about any other industry that would do journalism, and you think about the pros and cons that are weighed up before covering, like if someone obtained a source for something and they knew there was going to be, like, say a political party, like someone leaked something to them in regards to someone, there would be so much talk about, is it worth doing this, and what is our narrative? Well, like, why are we going to potentially come under scrutiny both from the law and the readers of our publication to leak these text messages from a public politician or someone that we've found? Like, what is the narrative here? Like, what are we going to, like, what are we doing by doing this? There's usually a lot of talk around these things, whereas the article here is simply framed as, hey, there's a leaked video game on the internet, probably illegally stolen. I'm going to do the article as, hey, here's information. I'm just going to tell you what's in it. Like, there's no real, like.
I mean, it's interesting because I've seen like other people kind of defend the article and, like, said they read through it and they thought it was almost like a preview.
Well, I'd love to read through it and tell you if there's spoilers in it, but I can't. And I know everyone's like, you don't have to click on the article, but I'm like, yeah, I don't have to. And that's me avoiding the spoilers. But what if every Tom, Dick, and Harry and whoever else is going to click on the article, and then all of a sudden they're just like posting everywhere, and I just somehow cite something very important or whatever. I'm not overly sensitive. I'm not one of these people that's like, all trailers are fucking spoilers either. Like, I'm not super sensitive to that either. So
yeah, I don't know. As someone who looked and read the article, it does read like a preview, but I don't see how that's a positive as, hey, I illegally watched gameplay. Like, well, not illegally. They didn't illegally do anything wrong, technically, but
they didn't do anything illegal.
They didn't do it, but it's just very weird to me. Like, I personally,
but they had to. But in theory, they had to do something illegal to.
Well, no, they just went on.
Not really.
They just went on 4chan or whatever.
It's like anybody who reported on the WikiLeaks articles. They didn't technically do anything illegal.
They didn't technically do anything wrong.
I just want to know what's the trade-off. Is there more people that, like, to the Kotaku brand are disliking Kotaku now? Is like hurt their brand more than like the people that are championing, like, go Kotaku, you're sticking it to the man.
I think Kotaku is very much in the same vein as BuzzFeed in terms of everybody talks shit about BuzzFeed, but
they still go to BuzzFeed.
They still go to BuzzFeed. People are still attending BuzzFeed. BuzzFeed is still a successful website, and there is a large mass of the general public are still using that website, and they're not part of the Volcano.
I feel like, so I'm the one, I would say, I cite a lot of Kotaku articles, and I read a lot of Kotaku, and I would say easily I'm the most positive on Kotaku out of everyone on this website. But I don't think they also do like when they do stuff like this, I don't feel like how this is anything else where I'm like, I usually like reading some of your more button pushy stuff, and I can understand where some of it's coming from and it pisses people off. But this is a case where I'm like, I don't get it. Like, I don't understand what the point of this was, so if you want to compare, like, it's a weird thing to compare it to, but like when we're talking about like journalistic reasons to do things, WikiLeaks, people view that stuff, they didn't do anything wrong, but when you're posting about WikiLeaks, there was a lot of reasons to post that information and share it.
Yeah.
There's really no reason to share it. It's a fucking video game. And I know the answer is, well, we're a video game website, but I'm like, yeah, but there's a million other stories you could be posting about. I mean, you could have wrote a story about how and why these things leak and why we're so, like, I don't know. There's a million directions to take the story rather than just here information.
I feel like some of the responses and replies were very like insecure about their position as like a journalist in the video gaming industry. That's how I felt.
It's very weird.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's interesting
else.
that this comes out and during the same week that Waypoint gets shut down. So
yeah, and that sucks. Waypoint and like their podcast, all of their articles, some of my favorite writers in the video game industry, all there. Some of my favorite features written in the past probably 5 years all came from that website. The most interesting stuff I've read, and that place is shut down. So I think that says a lot about the video game journalistic side of the industry at the moment, which is there's fuck all jobs, and the ones that exist are just at the 2-3 major corporations, and everyone else.
You need to do stuff to get the most traffic possible. Yeah,
yeah. I mean, yeah, I guess, but it's a sad state of affairs.
What would be your threshold? Like, if you could be
What?
guaranteed, like, you get 2 million hits if you post this article about the Zelda spoilers.
I don't think
I personally don't think I could.
Don't think it should ever.
Yeah.
I don't think it should
3
ever
million?
come into it being but I don't think it should ever be about a number. It
10
should
million?
be about ethics.
Yeah.
There should be no price on your ethical values as an author and a journalist.
50 million.
This motherfucker. I know. Here's what would happen if we got this information first. There would be a conversation where Ash is like, "Yeah, but how about like?" He would be the one be like, "What if we just post?" I'll be like, "No. What if we get the hits? No. What if we all 50 million go?"
What if we have to hit 6-7 links before you can get to the actual information?
Yeah.
No.
And you put every different leak on a different page, so it's a new click every time you have to click to
Oh my
defense.
god.
It's not on the same page. Yeah.
And there's like ads on top and below and in between each sentence.
Yeah, it would be
Yeah.
rich. Rich. Oh, let's go over a couple other things. So first, I just want to give a quick shout out. The only review that went up this week was from Will. He did a review for Showgunners, so it's from developer Artificer, and it was published by Good Shepherd Entertainment. It's a 80s movie, sort of inspired turn-based tactics game set within like a TV death. What do you call it? Like the death show, sort of. I think that's the wording. Anyway, it looks pretty cool. It sort of came out of nowhere. I'd never seen a trailer for it, and then all of a sudden, there was like an email that's like, "Hey, this game's out. Do you want someone to review it?" And I was like, "I've never fucking heard of this game, but sure." Which I love that. And I think Will, when he sent the review to me, was like, pretty much said the same thing, where he's like, "Hey, here's the review. Never heard this game until you sent me the code, but it was actually pretty good." And then I replied and was like, "Sometimes that's a good thing, you know. You're surprised by you never heard of the video game." But he gave it a 7.5 and said there was no particular standout feature of Showgunners, though. Despite this, it still comes away as a game I immensely enjoyed. The zippy speed, 80s style death sports game show aesthetic and sound tactical decisions all coalesce into an experience suited to both tactics veterans looking for a shorter sugar hit or novices wanting an easy way into the genre. 7.5. So read his full review on the Explosion Networks of the .coms. The thing I wrote this week was, I do quickly go over this, was I got to play 90 minutes of After Us, which was announced. I don't actually remember where the fuck it was announced. I can't remember. Anyway, there was a trailer put out like 6 months ago somewhere at one of the game shows or something. It's the follow-up to Arise, A Simple Story, which I played, and that came out at the worst possible time, I think, weirdly, like a week or two before Christmas. That was the game where Arise was where you played as this older man in the afterlife after he'd passed away, and you sort of follow through his life and talk to people and so on, and these different sorts of things. I liked the story. I thought emotionally it was very, very good. Art style was good. Music was phenomenal. The gameplay just drove me nuts. It had some terrible platforming and things like that. So when I jumped into this straight away, my first question was, as soon as the platforming section came up, I was like, oh God, here we go. But they fixed everything. The platform is actually decent in this one. And it has a controllable camera rather than Arise, which had a fixed camera angle, which was part of that game's problem because it made it very hard to tell where you were actually jumping onto things at different times and stuff. But this game starts with the character Gaia. So all the animals sort of pass away. Earth at the start of the game, and then you drop down into this dystopian Earth where, you know, like highways are filled with cars, and there's like humans frozen and all this sort of stuff. There's a very like obviously environmental message around the game. There's oil everywhere, sort of oozing stuff coming out of it. You could definitely rush through the game. So when I got sent the preview build, it was like, hey, you'll get to play 90 minutes. You should be able to get up to a section where you choose to go in 2 different directions for the game, and you get to pick from 2 different levels. And I never got up to that section because I spent my 90 minutes making sure I got every collectible in every area I was going to.
Why? It's a fucking preview.
It was a preview where the trophies were popping, baby. I was getting on there. Joke. I'm ready for the full release. I'm making sure I'm getting everything. So, but yeah, you could definitely play through the game with this, I guess, journey-esque way to play it. Like the character runs at sort of the same pace and flow as the character from Journey, and you could sort of just go through the game that way and probably get this emotional resonant experience out of it. But then every time you get to a new area, you can press a button and the guy will sing, and these little things like orbs will come out of her that lead you and give you a rough idea where the collectibles are. So these are usually like orbs that you just have to do a short little platforming section. Every time you collect one of these, it adds a new animal spirit to the world. So I imagine the game without finding the collectibles would actually be pretty fucking boring because I was finding all the collectibles, which are animal spirits. And then as I'm traveling around the game, there's constantly like platypuses and cats and dogs and weird animals just chilling on car bonnets and shit like that. And you can press a button to wave to them. There's birds flying around in the air and shit. But I'm like, what if you're not getting these collectibles? Is this just dead? How boring. Anyway, I've put 20 minutes of gameplay up on the Explosion Network YouTube channel and also in my article if anyone wants to check that out. But yeah, all in all, I walked away definitely keen to play more. I think when I sent my link over the PR, I was like, here's my preview. When can I play a full game? Because I was having fun. And the when I was playing the preview build, it popped up and said, hey, this is going to end in a minute. And I was like, oh, but I want to play more. So, I mean, that's a good sign walking away from any preview, of course. Asterisk on all of this is the amount of times there's 50-50 for every time I come on here and talk about a preview I did where I go, this game's good. And then I come back a month later and go, I was wrong. And then another time I come in and go, remember that preview I did? The game rocks still. So we'll see. The full release is at the end of the month on May 23rd. So do you remember Ash? You might remember. Do you remember this was announced? Was it like the game show? I don't remember. But it was like one of the prominent game trailer things. Anyway, whatever. Moving on. Last thing I want to talk about this week is mostly in Ash's corner because I actually haven't I hadn't had time to play as much as I'd like to. But Ludaanarracon was on for 2023. So this is a Steam demo festival. Focused on narrative-based games. Key sort of call-out demos, I guess top 3 would have been, there was a Stray Gods demo on here, the Australian singing game. There was a Goodbye Volcano High demo. And then there was also a Harmony the Fall of Reverie demo on here as well. What the fuck are you laughing at? What happened?
Buddy's mind just got blown.
Oh, did you miss this? Did you not know this?
Clearly not.
Okay, so we'll start with that. Ash.
I'm too busy in the Twitter threads, you know?
Yeah. Too busy fighting to realize that you could have been playing Goodbye Volcano High.
Fucking hell. How was it?
Yeah. Ash, how was Goodbye Volcano High?
Yeah, I mean, it was pretty good. Like, obviously, just got like feel like it was maybe the first 15, 20 minutes of the game.
I think that's definitely right, yeah.
Yeah, just kind of setting up the world and setting up the main core characters of
Volcano High?
Of Volcano High. No, I'm trying to think what the characters' names were.
I can't remember the character's name. But also you get to make the band name whatever you want it to be out of a few options. So like
no, there's only one band name.
No, don't you get to change the logo you
just change the logo.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. So yeah, it's just these dinosaurs in high school and this main girl wants to start she's very focused on their music. That's what she wants to spend her time with, and that's what she sees her future as. Whereas It's definitely a case of it's definitely a senior year of high school. Everybody is starting to go, and they're kind of you can see the first kind of fraying of all these friends kind of going in their own directions and venturing into their own interests and that kind of stuff. There's also the tease of like what's to come, like pretty prominently.
Is it just an asteroid in the sky?
No, there's some high frequency thing that's kind of affecting all that stuff.
Yeah, straight
if you haven't seen Goodbye Volcano High, it's a dinosaur world, but it's like modern day. Like
the characters talk like teenagers, and the writing for
they've
the
got
game
mobile
is
phones and everything, all that shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, I found it really enjoyable. Obviously, there's like a musical rhythm element to it, which does it in a way that don't think I've played before.
No. So it's when you do these songs, you it'll have 3 symbols on the screen where you move the analog stick between a left, up, or right as notes come down. You don't have to click anything; you just have to have it in the right slot. And then at other times, these sort of bassy symbols appear on the screen, and you press those at the right time to activate it. And then there's other times where you have to flick the left and right analog sticks up. It starts out pretty easy, but then in some of the, at least as far as the demo, it got a little bit more complicated when you're trying to make sure you're moving the analog stick to the right position while then trying to tap the bass button. And the music was really fucking good. I'd give you that.
Yeah, I like the music. Yeah,
it was really fucking good. So,
although it's like there's like a battle of the bands that they want to be a part of, and they're like, I had to write this song that's like completely different to what we usually do. It's like they didn't want the shitty songs that they were before. Yeah, it's really interesting, and like obviously, very adventurous story. Like if that's your jam, this is going to be your jam. So. Teen drama.
Yeah, it's definitely teen drama, but you're playing as a dinosaur, which is exactly what I wanted the game to be. So I have no problems. I really
enjoyable banter.
Yeah, the writing's actually good.
Yeah, weird tangents about bugs.
Yeah. That one
I want to know if that bug is a real.
Are they bugs are they like kind of snacking on the bugs? Are they?
No. There's this one character who's in the band who just starts talking about because the game starts when they're coming back off
summer break.
Summer break, because the game starts when they come back summer break.
They're going back for a new calendar year.
Yeah, so the character you're playing as, who's like the lead singer of the band, has been obsessed with their band. Like she's been doing nothing but rocking out, playing songs. However, the other characters, in their time away over summer break, they've sort of grown a little bit apart. They're not as devoted to the band as her, is what it feels like. One of them may have started a D&D group or something. I feel like is what the fuck. Yeah,
I don't know what they all stand for.
Yeah, I don't know. Like they're talking to another character who you can tell the band leader doesn't actually know, and she's like, "Why are you talking to her? We don't know her." Sort of thing going on there.
Yeah.
And they're talking about like, "I've got to get some fire spells ready." So I'm like, "You're playing D&D on the side, and you're not telling your fucking best friend over here drama's about to happen." And then you've got this other character who just comes back off summer break, and straight away she's like, "Band's awesome, but also let me tell you about the 50-page Wikipedia fucking page I read on this random bug." And then you come back to that character later in band practice, and then she's talking to another character about the same fucking bug. She's bug obsessed, this character.
She went to bug camp.
I was hoping she was talking about bug snacks.
No. I was not talking about bug snacks.
It's the bug that bites the dinosaurs that holds the DNA in it that gets frozen that they recreate Jurassic Park with in the future.
Could be. It's all tie-in. But yeah, so then they're teasing the game or the demo.
AKA a mosquito.
The game starts... I'm assuming that won't change when the full release happens, but the game does start like 9 or... Oh, no. Does it say... Like, I can't remember. It says time.
8 months,
like
I think.
8 months early or something. Yeah, like that is when the game starts. So you must go through like an entire high school year or some shit like that.
Yeah.
Because the game starts with them all out on a beach, these characters, and they're talking about how the end times are coming, and they're burning like a school book that says Goodbye Volcano High on it. And they're like,
yearbook.
They're like, a yearbook. And they're like, it's time to say goodbye. And then you get to make one choice there, and then the game flicks back in time from there. It does the telltale thing of every time you make a choice that matters, it has a little symbol come up in the left-hand side of the screen and be like, it doesn't say that choice matters. It just has a little symbol that lets you know.
They will remember this.
They will remember
this sort of thing. The art is really good. I love it. Very vibrant character designs. The characters are very lively. The voice acting is all really good. I don't feel like any of it sounds cheap. The sound design between the music and everything. Yeah, I was already excited for this game. I'm still keen. That is how I would sum up.
I think it's a good taste.
Yeah.
Like a good taste test.
Yeah. It was about 20 minutes, the demo, I feel. I don't know. All right. That's the only one I've had time to play. I'm going to try and play the rest after we record this, but that doesn't work out for this podcast. So Ash, tell me about. Let's go with. I don't know. Where do you want to go? Do you know the ones you played, or else I'm looking at your Steam profile.
No, I know which one. I played Wrestling with Emotions, New Kid on the Block, which is a new game from Team Laserbeam. Which you play in a alternate 1994 where the biggest wrestling company in the world is Wrestling with Emotions. And you enter in a magazine to become like a trainee to go to their wrestling academy. And it's very much a spoof of like WWE and stuff of that era and that kind of stuff. But it's all like big, bulky, like beefcake characters. And it's very over the top and quite funny. The art style is quite interesting and that kind of stuff. You go in and you've got to train. It looks like you'll build up like 4 different categories of stuff, and like, but so far it's like a bunch of choices, and it's like a lot of making people like you or not like you, and making choices whether to try to impress people or not. But yeah, I found like just the silliness of it very enjoyable to the extent where the company used to be called Wrestling with Feelings, but now it's wrestling.
Get the F out.
Yeah, and the owner is Manny McMahon Jr. That's
Manny McMahon loves big sweaty men. Yeah.
He does. There's a lot of big sweaty. Just the character creation. This is like one of the options. It is bizarre. My character ended up being called Mr. or Unstoppable Mystery Dude. Because there's like 3 different adjectives. No, there's like 3 adjectives for the different looks you get. You just match them together. It's like a really long name. No, it's like 4. So yeah. Yeah, I enjoyed it. It's worth checking out. Then I played Times and Galaxy. So this is a reporter game.
This is the one you played the most of. So
yeah, I feel like this was the longest of all the demos. So you play as a reporter. No, you play as a robot intern who's the first ever robot journalist. And you get it gets better. You get sent out to like report on different stories in this space galaxy. And you have to go to you have to report on the news, and then you talk to characters, find out information, and then you have to put your story together. And like you can either have like all the facts and be very informational, or you can be like played at like the alien interests and that kind of stuff, or like you can add elements to your story that are very sensational and will get attention. And then the story goes out and like you get ranked on like what how well you perform in the different areas. Do you ruin your reputation to like have the most sensational stuff with like limited sources and that kind of stuff, or do you like be super factual, build up your reputation, and like but you're not bring any readers in? I think it's really interesting. There's a bunch of characters.
Game to play this for this.
Just the idea, like
unequivocally.
Yeah. Unequivocally agree with that statement. Yeah, it's just a lot of interesting characters and like to get introduced and that kind of stuff. So yeah. I didn't finish the entire demo, so there's even more for me to play. I just got sent to cover a cat show. So, who knows what sort of crazy shenanigans are happening over there. So,
and you played 106 minutes, so
yeah, that's pretty good.
Yeah, pretty good.
A lot of people to talk to. And then the last one I played was Stray Gods, the Australian musical game that we talked about a couple of weeks ago when they had their big events. They showed their first trailer. This was similar to Volcano High, just kind of give you a taste test of what the story is. It starts off with you. I think the Laura Bailey character is called Faye, I want to say off the top of my head. And she's with her bands in like an auditorium. They're doing band auditions just for the sake of doing band auditions because they're kind of like in a rut or whatever. And Faye ends up alone, and then this Koality character comes into the auditorium and they sing a song together. And then it does like one of those. It does like a hard cut to like later in the game, so you can experience another musical moments. But I enjoyed it. The art style is really good. I think it does that thing where it's not animated. It just switches between like different static images, which can be a little bit jarring to start off with. But once you get used to it, it's like pretty good. The song was really good. It's really cool how, your choices kind of affect the song as it goes along. So obviously there'll be multiple different ways that the songs could turn out and that kind of stuff. So really interesting, good taste, but still I don't know exactly what all the gameplay is, because you're just making choices. That's the only thing you do. Like what more than that is there? Or is it just a fantastic story that's interactive, which was fine. But yeah, I'm keen to find out more.
Probably, yeah. I mean,
probably just that.
Probably just that. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know if it needs to be more than that. If that's your game, that's fine.
Yeah. Yeah.
Walking Dead one game of the year most places, and that was just interactive.
Yeah, a lot of puzzles and stuff though. So
I guess so. Maybe there's
playing on the Vita was a puzzle.
Boom. By the way, buddy, I just had a quick look. If you want to, the demos, at least as of recording, are still downloadable. So if you want to play your 15 minutes of dinosaurs,
no worry, I'll wait.
All right, fair enough. Just so I'll let you know, doing my due diligence.
No trophies.
Yeah, fair.
No trophies.
Good point. Yeah, so I'm going to play through some more. Also, did you play much? Or
did we know that it had a June release date, Volcano High?
Yeah, we talked about it in Platinum Explosion. You don't listen to me talk.
It was a while ago.
You didn't play. You only played 6 minutes of the Harmony demo.
Yeah, I just didn't feel it.
Oh wow, okay. So that's the.
I know. I might. Yeah, just a girl gets pulled into another world. Cool.
All right.
That was kind of I don't know. I also booted up right kind of before we were getting ready for this, so I was like, I might just see how long this is. And it didn't grab me in the first 6 minutes, so I was like, I'll get something else done before we record.
Fair enough. All right, so before we wrap up, I just want to quickly mention, and I'll probably talk more about it next week because I've only played about 20 minutes, but Apple Arcade the other day dropped a bunch, 4 new games. I've been playing that Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles ones. It is actually really fucking good. So, sorry, Ash. I know.
Damn it.
The thing is, everyone's tweeting everyone's tweeting
putting all these.
It's just it's a roguelike. It's Hades, but with Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and obviously
Surely it's the best value in games right now. Apple Arcade.
That's fucking Kieran's face. The thing. So I was playing it on my phone last night in bed. I downloaded it, and it was fine on my phone, but it was very much this is not a phone game. This is definitely more of a tablet with a controller, all that sort of that's the Apple, because Apple Arcade, as much as you can download all these games on the phone, if you look through the blog post, they changed the image to obviously what they recommend, probably the way you should be played in this game. And they had it, so I've downloaded it on my Apple TV. I'm gonna try and play the rest of it that way with an actual controller. Enjoy it. But yeah, the story is literally turtles are doing some training mission, and next second Shredder shows up, and then fucking whoever you're playing at the start of the game, I can't actually remember now. You play as one of the turtles.
Leonardo.
I actually can't.
Raphael.
Yeah, one of them. I can't remember. I don't know. You're playing as
Michelangelo.
Fucking hell, Ash. And then they die.
Don't tell
so
them.
Fucking Shredder comes in and ruins the day, and all these ninjas, and they kill you. But then you're whipped out of this tunnel, this portal, and then of course for some reason it's hey, every time you die, you just have to restart and you start in the sewers, and you got to work your way up to the thing. So it's a roguelike. You get permanent upgrades. So, these things do more power or more health or etc. And then it does that Hades thing of every time you clear a room, you can pick from 1 or 2 different powers that carry over through that run, but reset when you start the game again. So yeah, that's, if you have an iPhone, or an Apple device, and you like roguelikes and Ninja Turtles, yes, that's a good one. That's free if you got Apple Arcade. So.
Yeah,
2 other ones that look cool.
Renaissance.
What the Car? I want to play that. And then the other one was interesting was the Cityscapes.
Yeah, I think I downloaded all 4 of the new ones because the only other one was the Disney word search one, but that's probably not your. I downloaded all 4. I'm going to give them all a go. So, because it's weird. Apple Arcade is they do this thing where it goes dead for 6 months, and then randomly, without no announcement, they're here's 4 cool games. They're terrible at promoting the service, but anyway. All right. That will do it for this week's episode of Arcade Couch. Thank you for joining us on the episode, buddy. I hope dust off your podcast mic.
Yeah, thanks for having me. It's good. One less podcast to listen to this week too. So because I was on it.
No, well, 2 less. 2 less.
2 less.
2 less.
Yeah.
Oh, true. Yeah, you're right.
It's on between cushions
Look
as
at that.
well, so.
Disappointed there's no 90s movie of the week, but we can hope.
I can't rip off. Fuck, I'll start doing 70s movie of the week, maybe, or some shit like that. Just,
Probably more interesting movies, actually.
Yeah.
Well, better quality anyway.
fucking, Well Played is scraping at the bottom of the barrel these days, to be completely honest. Like, some of the picks, I'm not about them.
Yeah, last week, Clueless,
Yeah.
definitely better than Flubber.
Yeah,
So.
it's fucking bullshit.
What?
I know. What? Yeah, it is. Clearly, it's better flop. What are you talking about? No,
Probably.
you're wrong. Anyway,
I haven't revisited Flubber in a long time. But
no,
yeah.
you don't need to. It's fine. Clueless is definitely way better.
At
What do you
the
wanna-
time,
What do you
I
want
was all about that Flubber.
Exactly.
What do you want to promote, buddy?
The Last of Us factions. You should play it. It's a great game. It's still active community on PlayStation 4. I've been playing all the last week. It was fantastic. Clipped out some highlights and put them over on my Twitter and my Twitter over there on @BuddyWatson12. I do have a podcast still, somewhat dormant in the ashes there. Just waiting for its moment to strike. And that's Radio Watson Podcast and Apple Podcast, Spotify, all good podcast services as well.
What's your Twitch if you're going to stream Zelda?
Buddy Watson.
Is it?
That's it.
Is it really?
Yeah.
Fuck, you got lucky there. Good job.
Yeah. I got Buddy Watson.
How
I'm
many
gonna
Buddy
be
Watsons do you think there are?
I don't know.
Don't give a fuck.
Or
Only one in my
Watsons
world,
or
mate.
buddies?
But yeah, I'm going to be streaming Zelda hopefully on launch day. Depending on,
Believe.
you reckon?
Yeah, do
Yeah.
it. Do it.
Yeah, I'll be. I
Fuck
think.
Nintendo.
I think around midday or 1 p.m. Hopefully, because I'm going into work for 2 hours. Then I'm going to drive to another place and get the two re-release amiibos that I want, and then I'll come home.
Because now it's one of those things where if you put it out into the world, like we know now, so now on the day I'll be like, hey, weren't you meant to be streaming?
And I'll be like, hey, weren't you supposed to be minding your own fucking business?
All right, let us know any comments, questions, concerns you've had about the show or anything else on our end of the stick here by tweeting at us, explosionhour.com/Twitter, or join our Discord, explosionhour.com/Discord. Go follow Buddy on all the things you just mentioned and played Last of Us, I guess, if that's the thing that you care about. What the fuck is this notification? Who's joined a party? Is that a Philosopher's party that you're just showing me?
Yeah.
What the fuck am I saying? You can support the show, explosionhour.com/support to donate little as $1 to our Ko-fi page. And until next week, same time, same couch, have a good one. Play the Last of Us Factions, I guess. I don't know. Buddy's sponsored by Naughty Dog or some shit. I don't know. Naughty Dog's in his blood. Goodbye.
Bye.